Tony was selling a card online, and the buyer asked, "Any flaws?" He noticed a tiny scratch under the light. Hard to see, but it was there. He hesitated. Should he mention it? If he didn't, maybe the buyer wouldn't notice. But then he thought about his own experiences, how it felt to get a card that wasn't as described. But that's fair game when buying raw cards, right? What about when he shipped a $25 card by letter mail to get the cheapest postage rate, but then received a notification from PayPal a few weeks later stating that the buyer had opened a refund request, claiming to have never received the card? Where are the lines when it comes to honesty and integrity in this silly hobby world? With a deep breath, he typed, "Small surface scratch, barely visible. I can send photos and videos if you like." The buyer thanked him for his honesty and bought it anyways. In that moment, Tony realized honesty wasn't just about doing the right thing. It built trust. And in this hobby, trust was everything.
Ridiculous, Fondling Cardboard.
What is up? And welcome to Fondling Cardboard. I'm your host, Mike Lakusta, aka the Golf Card Collector. This is the 12 Rules for Hobby series, where I take the powerful lessons from Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life and break them down, helping you become a better collector and, more importantly, a better version of yourself, both in the hobby and in life. Yesterday we talked about pursuing what is meaningful and not what is expedient. And have you been honest with yourself? Have you taken the time to reflect to what true meaning is for you in this hobby? Well, today we're going to pursue honesty, as the rule number 7 is be honest. Integrity builds trust and strong relationships, whereas lying or deceiving others leads to inevitable consequences. In card collecting, whether you're selling, trading, or grading cards, honesty is everything. Disclose card conditions accurately and don't overhype values. Integrity will earn you the respect and long-term success in the hobby. So, why being honest matters is that building trust and credibility in this hobby is critical to do business with others, and honestly, and I would prioritize even above that, is just building those friendships and connections in the hobby. Lies, deceptions, they bring about short-term gains. You might make a little bit more money selling a card if you deceive somebody about which parallel it is or how much it's worth, or if you overhype it. But it'll always lead to long-term consequences, because once that collector realizes that you pulled a fast one on them, not only are they not going to deal with you, but you might end up with a reputation, a bad reputation, that is. And a good reputation takes years to build, but just one bad decision to ruin. If people respect you more and they want to work with you, your hobby will be easy, your network will support you in your collecting goals, and at the end of the day, will be a more fulfilling experience for you. So honesty in the hobby has a fine line between right and wrong. Of course, there's always gray area, but it's easy to separate. Trust your gut, because when you sell raw cards, if it has flaws, disclose them, even if they're small. And if you're not having conversations with your buyers, then show photos that don't hide these blemishes or imperfections, but rather highlight them. Shipping decisions, is it worth it to save a few bucks if it increases the risk of disputes or losing trust? The same goes for payment methods. Payment through friends and family is exactly that. It's through friends and family. If somebody is coercing me or pressuring me to use a type of payment that is non-refundable or non-disputable, and it's somebody that I don't know, I'm not going to deal with them. Or I will force them in the opposite direction and say we need to go with goods and services payment method. I know that here in Canada, tracked shipping is incredibly expensive. So it actually does make a lot of sense to ship things by letter mail. And when I say letter mail, I mean literally plain white envelope with a stamp. And there's a level of trust that goes with that. It's a small hobby, and if somebody rips another person off, and I've been in that situation where I've been ripped off, people will talk about it. So don't ever try to fall into that temptation. It could be easy to say, oh, the card never arrived, so send me my money back. That's just going to open up the can of worms that you don't want to open. It creates a terrible situation for the seller. And why? Why take advantage of somebody? When you're submitting cards for grading, I know there's cleaning products out there. There's, and some people have strong feelings about them. There's blowing with your breath. Is that considering altering the card? And is even wiping a card with just a simple microfiber cloth, is that considering cleaning or ruining the card? Is that fair? I mean, that's for you to judge. It is a gray area. There's so much nuance to it, and it's been discussed at length on lots of podcasts and programs. The one that sticks out to me, though, is cracking and resubmitting. I'm all for cracking a card and resubmitting it if you truly believe that the grader was having a bad day, if they were a little bit harsh on enforcing the grading standards of the company. But an area that I think is unacceptable is cracking out a slab that has a low grade but is difficult to tell that the card got a low grade, and trying to sell that card on the premise that the card is in much better condition than it actually is. So examples of that would be if there's a crease on the card that's difficult to see, if there's a terrible print line or whatever, dent or something like that on the back of the card, and you list the card for sale without an image of the back of the card. If it was squished in a magnetic one-touch holder, and you can only really tell that the card's indented along the edge when the light is shining in a certain angle, and when you sell the card, you don't shine it in that angle. These are all examples where I don't think you are doing an ethical sale. I don't think you're doing justice to the buyer, and I think it's only fair, even if you do crack it out because you think that this card looks better in a magnetic one-touch holder instead of a graded slab with a low grade. I do think it's important to disclose the condition of the card. Long-term value of integrity in collecting is hard to put a price tag on it, because honesty leads to repeat buyers, trade partners, and as I mentioned before, friends. Because your name carries weight in the hobby, even if you're not putting yourself out there. If you're not a content creator and a podcaster like myself, or even if you're not on Instagram or eBay as a seller, do you really want to be known and just have your name on its own as someone that people don't trust and that people avoid? Or do you want to be known as somebody who they give you a shout out and a pat on the back for being an awesome person? Short-term deception, it burns bridges because people talk and word spreads quickly. In the hobby and in life, trust is like a currency. You lose it and everything becomes harder. So here's some practical steps to maintain integrity in collecting. Be upfront about those flaws. Buyers appreciate honesty more than perfectionism. And take clear photos and videos just to eliminate doubt and just provide transparency. Use reliable shipping methods, as I mentioned. PayPal goods and services. I don't recommend anything that can't be refunded, especially for high dollar value transactions. If you want to take your own risks, go ahead, but protect yourself if there's big money on the line. And honor your deals. Once you've committed to a trade or sale, don't back out, whether that's for a better offer or if the player just went on a rampage and suddenly their stock is up. That's not fair to back out of a prior commitment. And lastly, treat others how you'd want to be treated. This simple and cliche rule applies to every aspect of the hobby and even your life. Honesty pays off in the end. Integrity isn't just about avoiding dishonesty. It's also about building up trust, building up relationships. A good reputation opens doors. It allows collaboration. It allows friendship. And obviously the opposite distrust closes doors. So in the end, honesty isn't just about the right thing to do. It's about the smartest move you can make to enjoy the best hobby experience, and so you can sleep at night. Be honest, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you again tomorrow with rule number 8. Till then, take care.
Ridiculous golf card collector.